You hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You kept saying you were muted. I tried to unmute you and it wouldn't do it, so I wasn't sure. Okay, we're going to work our way through what I skipped last week with parts 5 and 6 of The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. Have you guys read that?
Kinda.
All right, what I'm asking is, one person said kind of. I assume nobody else read it. Is it worth me doing this?
I have not read it either.
Okay. Tell you what, why don't you read it and we'll discuss it tomorrow. And then today, I'm going to go over the unit number 4 exam, how we would have done it. Okay, the unit 4 exam is one I would have given. I always give it right before the spring break. And what we do is we spend a couple days, I split you off into partners. And then each partner will spend one day asking the other partner these questions. And let me share the screen with you so you can see the questions that you would have asked your partner. All right, so you would have asked your partner these questions, and then the test would have been you writing up your analysis of your partner based on the concepts we had learned in Unit 4. So the first question, to the best of your knowledge, what kind of personal health habits did your mother have prior to your birth? How close are you and your mother? Would have been the second question. The third question, you would have read 2 different excerpts to the interviewee before you asked any questions. So the first excerpt was, the causes of the American Revolution are manyfold, but none stands out more than the issue of monetary policy in England. The failure of the Crown and the trade boards to sufficiently provide specie in America led to the creation of a black market in money. While this was operating in the place of the official currency and was allowed, there were no issues. However, once this was outlawed and the supply of specie went down and the demand went up as a result of British tax policy, the colonists rebelled. The second excerpt went, the causes of the American Revolution come down to one thing and one thing only, and that is the feeling of being oppressed by the Crown. Colonists felt that their cries for equal representation in Parliament, particularly on tax issues, was ignored. The King purposefully disbanded duly elected legislatures and then forced their members to meet far from the comforts of their capitals where they were accustomed to adjourning. Royal governors acting on behalf of the King received grants of extraordinary powers. Powers once assumed to belong to the people alone or to their duly elected representatives. The colonists, therefore, became of the majority opinion that a virtual state of slavery was gradually being introduced upon them. As a result, they saw no other choice than to rebel. And then you would ask your partner after reading these two excerpts, what caused the American Revolution? And the last question in this section, if you were driving behind an armored car whose door flung open on the road and a bag of money fell out, but they did not realize it, and you were the only witness to the event and it could not be traced back to you at all, what would you do? Heaven's, I see Heaven's face. Heaven's going, oh, money. Making bank is what I'm doing, right?
I would have kept on driving.
And just left the money there?
Yeah, I mean, is it really worth it?
Well, you wouldn't take it and give it back to him?
No,
You just keep going.
I
Interesting.
just keep on living my life.
All right, so, I mean, you heard Jillian's answer this one, and you can kind of compare, but really, what's the point of these questions? I mean, what does it matter? What relationship you had with your mother, what the causes of the American Revolution were, what you'd do if an armored car was driving down the road. Well, all these questions are supposed to get to your cognitive and moral development. So I would have hoped in the test, as you analyzed your partner using these 4 questions, that, you know, if they say, oh, my mom smoked or something, well, certainly you could look at the biological effects of smoking or drug use or alcohol use on prenatal development, and certainly be able to discuss, okay, how they developed in the womb that would lead to drawbacks in their development later on. How close were you and your mother? Kind of the same thing. Number 3, the excerpts regarding the American Revolution. Well, that gets into your cognitive development and where you are on Piaget's 4 stages. And so it kind of gets into, do you just, say, oh, it's all concrete that the American Revolution had this cause or this cause, or could you kind of, blend those together and say, well, there were multiple causes of the American Revolution, and that would show a little bit of a higher cognitive development than just saying there was this cause or this cause. If you were driving behind an armored car whose door flung open, now we're getting into Kohlberg's moral development. Where are you on his scales of morality and those stages? And hopefully you'd be able to address them about your partner there and give me kind of an analysis, a psychological analysis of your partner regarding their cognitive and moral development. Now we get into number 5 here. And number 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12, and 13. Kind of get into psychoanalytics. So let's go through those questions. What types of grades did you receive at these 3 levels of school? Elementary, junior high, and high school. And that would go towards your psychosocial or your partner's psychosocial development. Number 6, how would you describe your musical tastes? Again, psychosocial development. With both of these, do you find that, are they pretty plateaued with their grades? Are they showing increasing? Are they showing decreasing grades? Are their musical tastes pretty much the norm there? Do they get a lot of social pressure? Are they showing any changes where they're breaking away from this social pressure? Do you have a group of or close group of friends who share in your tastes? That kind of goes into buttress those 2 things. If you came home to find your room cleaned, spotless, your bed made, and clean sheets and covers, but you had a long, tiring day, what would you do? And, the answers could vary from, well, I would, I'm really tired. I'd just flop on the bed with all my work clothes on. I would take my work clothes off and put them in the hamper. And, I would, make sure that to sleep just on top of the covers so as not to mess up. That kind of gets into the whole anal obsessive, anal compulsive, anal retentive type thing there with psychosocial development and psychoanalytics. Number 9, think of the last time you were wronged by a friend. How did you handle it? Again, were you passive aggressive? This gets into the whole psychoanalytics. Number 10, when you're bored or find yourself thinking hard about something, you find that you have to have something to eat or chew on something, even though you may not actually be hungry. And this will get into, when you were younger and in the oral stage, where you properly, weaned off the breast and things like that. Number 11, where you best breastfed or bottle fed as an infant, kind of goes into buttressing number 10. Number 12, did your parents have a difficult time toilet training you? And again, that goes into the whole, whether you're really a neat freak or just kind of a messy person, the whole Freudian, again, anal compulsive, anal retent, anal expulsive. I hate that term, but it brings up such bad imagery. So if you came into a room with a mixture of Legos of 3 different colors, yellow, blue, red, and 3 different sizes, small, medium, large, that had been dumped on the floor and all mixed together, how would you clean the room? And again, this gets into that whole anal compulsive, anal expulsive, because people who are very anal compulsive, well, I would sort them by small, medium, large, and color. People who really don't care, I just pick them all up, throw them in a bucket. So that's the psychoanalytic and psychosocial development questions that you would use on there. So number 16, 17, 18, and 19 are from the humanistic approach. Number 14, how would you describe yourself to others? Where do you see yourself growing and being good in something? What do you think are the personal qualities you have that would make someone want to be your friend? Again, same thing. What is your ultimate goal in life? Where are you kind of on Maslow's pyramid there as far as, moving on to something? And what steps are you taking to achieve these goals? Are you starting to be self-actualized? Carl has not turned in half of his assigned work in his favorite class and is in danger of failing it. His mom is working 2 jobs and his dad is in prison. Whose fault is Carl's class grade and why? And the way you see that might be the way you define your own faults in your person. And okay, so if you blame, Carl's things on his dad, then maybe that's a problem with you, that you tend to look at your faults and say, okay, this is my parents' fault actually. And how does that help you achieve your goals and things like that? Number 19, you are alone on the beach and see a group of people talking, laughing, playing a game, and in general having fun. What do you do? Well, are you more extroverted or introverted? Are you going to go join them? Are you going to, stay aside, appreciate they're having fun? Are you going to feel bad that you're not invited? This all speaks to, how you see yourself. So number 20, 21, and 22, and 23, the last questions are all personality assessments. If you remember that acronym, OCEAN. So how often do you get your homework in this class turned in on the date that it is due? And I'm talking specifically about psychology, since we had kind of an open calendar. If you were really, I have to get it in right now, well, then you were kind of obsessive. You wanted that to be in there. You've been invited to a formal dinner party of an honor society you belong to. The keynote speaker calls at the last moment to cancel his appearance, and they are looking for a member willing to speak. What do you do? Well, if you stand up and say, I'll fill in, I'll speak, well, then that might indicate that you're very much more open. Remember the openness in OCEAN, that you're very willing to take risks. That's a true story, by the way, that actually happened to me in the Honor Society in college. I had to speak because the guest speaker wasn't there. So number 22 is you are walking down the sidewalk on a rainy day. You notice a man slumped by the corner of a building wearing a rain poncho and hood, but with no cover. He is just sitting very still. What would you do? If you are more likely to go and, see if he's okay, to take care of him. You might be more empathetic, the whole E in ocean. And then number 23, you've been given a very difficult test in this class, and the day you are to work on it, Mr. Klein is not available, and instead has a substitute who really does not know the information the test covered. What would you do? Well, if you're more willing to contact me, that might, or think, oh, I just can't do this, I'm just going to fail it. I mean, that might indicate more neuroticism, more openness. So a couple different things you could have used number 23 for to judge, your partner and be able to write up an analysis of them. And so it was a short test, again, because it was right before break. And then you had a week when you got back from break to do it. So if you find someone who you can ask the questions to and then type this up, I'll still take it as a test grade for extra credit. If you go out on Lumen right now and look at your third quarter grades, I did this weekend enter a bunch of grades from what we've been doing since the quarantine happened and we haven't been in school. So your grades are probably bumped up some if you want to go look at that. But I'm still accepting stuff if you want to bump it up even further or, judge your time based on that. But that's all we would have really done in this test. So I hope that kind of makes sense to you, what I would have been looking for on the test and what we would have done. I think I went into more detail certainly here than I would have in class. I would have kind of left it open more for you to figure this out. So, any questions regarding this?
Nope.
Well, that's all we'll do today. Tomorrow I will go over parts 5 and 6. And then on Thursday, I will go over part 7 and finish up The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. So since that's kind of on my radar to get done, I will say that if you don't show up tomorrow or if people haven't read the book, I'm probably just going to say, sayonara, and we'll come back on Tuesday of next week if no one's going to read it. But so it's completely voluntary. I'm not trying to chastise you. I think you get a lot out of the reading of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have assigned it. But I also understand given the circumstances. So that's your choice, and I'm not going to judge you either way on your choice. I'm just going to say that if it's not, I'm not going to carry on a discussion where nobody knows what I'm talking about. That's a waste of both of our times otherwise. So if you get a chance, go to the supplements tab on the psychology class website and read parts 5 and 6 and hopefully part 7 by Thursday. And we'll start going over those the last couple of days and kind of. Any questions regarding that?
Nope.
All right, guys. Well, have a good day. It looks like it's going to be a really nice one.
Fine.
See you later.